Hey, what's going on? It's Jason 𝐁𝐨𝐤𝐤 with the No Flipping Excuses Show. I am so excited that you're here with us today. I'm alongside Mr. Jason Palliser. Jason, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about our topic today, so can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, let's do this. And before we do that, if you are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that right now. We'd love to have you. We're going to be doing some amazing giveaways in future videos only for our subscribers. So make sure you do that. Give this video a thumbs up. And as always, we're going to make sure that we answer your questions in the comment section below. Title of this video is 5 Mistakes Newbies Should Avoid Wholesaling Real Estate with No Money.
Okay.
So let's make sure we cover those 5 mistakes.
Absolutely. Okay. So if we break down getting into what are some mistakes to avoid or some things that you may not think about as you're starting to sink your teeth into this type of business, you know, the real estate investment sandbox. So the first thing right out of the gate, jumping straight into it, would simply be as you're getting ready to wholesale deals, one mistake that I see a lot of new people make is this, especially again, with the understanding that you're just getting started. These are things that I know you probably have never devoted any time to, committed to memory. So the very first one right out of the gate, and a huge mistake, and I can even talk to a specific example, is you got a property under contract. Now you're going to wholesale it and sell it to somebody else, right? The pure definition of wholesaling is selling it to someone else, right? So a huge mistake that I see investors make is they accept somebody says, hey, I'll go ahead and buy the house off you for $150, and maybe you have it under contract for $120. You're going to make $30,000. Hey, I'll go ahead and buy it off you for $150. So you have a contract to buy it. They send you an offer for $150 to sell it. So you hand them both into the title company, and it's supposed to close in 30 days, coordinating everything, and the deal falls apart. It's what we're here to talk about, right? That's heartburn, right? Your deal falls apart because...
Yeah, and I don't want to take any antacids. Definitely don't want to do that for the heartburn. So what can we do to cure that?
Absolutely. So, and I know what he eats. So yeah. He eats,
Woo.
certainly. So having said that, here's the thing that I need you to understand. You got to check for proof of funds. Don't just take for granted that the person that made you an offer on the property. Okay, so don't take for granted that it's just going to go to closing. So you want to verify proof of funds. So if they make an offer to you, do they have the money in the bank to actually close? Okay, so that's one thing right out of the gate, a mistake that most investors make. Okay, so having said that, the second thing, so the first thing is verify that they actually have the money to close on the deal. Now, the second mistake that I see investors make is that at the title company level, when you hand your transaction in, you have not verified. Okay, so you haven't verified whether or not that the title company will do the transaction the way that you want to do it. So doesn't it make sense for you to not go into this transaction and just assume that it's going to go smooth at the title company level? So you may have a contract to buy it, a contract to sell it. You hand it in. You think everything's good. You verify that they have the money, but now the title company says, "Oh, hey, everything's good to go. We've run title. We got the seller of the property. They're ready to close on your closing date. The end cash buyer, he has proof of funds or she has proof of funds. Everything's good. Oh, but we don't. I don't know if you're aware of this, but we don't allow you to just come in and sign, come in to sell and walk out with money. You actually have to have the money yourself to buy it on your first transaction. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith that you're buying the house from for $120, you need to bring the $120 in 2 weeks from now. And then for 1 minute, we close, and then we'll give you the $30,000, then you pay off that $120. So that's a huge mistake that somebody that's new to wholesaling would make, is that does the title company require you to bring in the money to close on the transaction? So as a tip for you, you just want to find a title company that will let you do a dry closing or a dry funding, meaning they'll let you hand in both contracts and your end buyer brings in all the money to satisfy both transactions without you having to bring in a single penny. So in the spirit of wholesaling without money, that's one huge thing that you need to know, and you don't want to find out after the fact because now you're scrambling to get financing. So the third mistake that new investors make when they're trying to wholesale a deal, and I center it around you doing this the right way and the marketplace viewing you as a good person to work with versus somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Here's what I don't want you to do. If you're just trying to slap together a deal and you have it under contract for 120, you looked at it, you know it needs 30 grand in work, and you think on the back end it's worth 200 grand, but you present it to the marketplace for people to see if they're interested, and you say, hey, I think it's worth 220 on the back end, even though you probably think it's 200. Hey, I think it's 15 grand in work when you know it's probably 30 grand in work. So it's kind of like, your end buyer, it's let the buyer beware in this real estate investment sandbox. They got to do their own numbers, but don't present it in a manner to where they're like, well, I kind of disagree with you on price, and I think there's more work than you think. Now, all of a sudden, out of the gate, you're just going back and forth, and that's unnecessary. So put together a good deal and give the real numbers. So that's a mistake that I see a lot of investors make.
Hey, book your free strategy session call today by going to 2daycall.com. That's the number 2daycall.com. We'd love to talk to you about how we're tapping into 34 plus lead generation off-market strategies in your market. Most of them too are free. Let's talk about it. Let's see how we can help you and your business thrive right now. Head on over to 2daycall.com. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, so the next tip is this. Make sure that you button up your contract the right way. I see a huge mistake made with beginner investors is that they don't button up the contract the right way. One of the big things that happens, which puts a lot of pressure on you, I don't want to happen to you. And if it's a duck, let's call it a duck. A lot of times you'll let the homeowner push you around, and everything's a negotiation. So you want to put into your contract an inspection window that gives you time. Your inspection window is your opportunity to have as much time as you can possibly get to make sure that you can get an end buyer. So what happens is sometimes you get pushed around. It's a huge mistake where the seller's like, well, I'll give you 7 days to do an inspection. I know you said you wanted 15. I would always try and get 2 weeks or more. So it's okay for you to give them pushback and say, hey, well, I'm going to, just to make sure that my offer to you is 100% good and rock solid, I'm going to get a few bids just to make sure that everything is what I think it is. So I might need a little extra time because I don't know what their schedule looks like. So if it's okay, I really do need that 2 week period. So one mistake that I see people make is that they don't write a contract that gives you the right amount of time to get done what you want to get done.
And Jay, really quick, I want to interrupt you there.
Yep.
For those of you out there, this might be the next question that comes in. We're going to be doing a question here in just a second where we get our Academy Award winning envelope, and I'm going to answer one of your guys' questions. But with that said, if you want this to happen on the next video, would you like to see a deep dive of us covering our purchase and sales agreement that we use? It's only 2 pages, but also as a bonus, would you like to have access to our purchase and sales agreement that we use from a wholesaling standpoint? If you do, make sure you drop a comment below. We would love to hear more about that. So if that's something you would like a future video to be done and for us to possibly give you access to our purchase and sales agreement for free, we could absolutely talk about that offline here. But if we get enough comments from you guys, we'll definitely put that in the mix. So as we continue on here, Jay, man, this has been really good, especially mistakes that people should be avoiding in their business.
Yeah, absolutely. So somebody that's new, that's getting started. So what's another thing that you should be conscious of, or that I see as a common mistake? So a common mistake that investors make. So another one that an investor that's getting started, that's trying to wholesale a transaction will make is that, and this is usually the kiss of death, okay? Where if you're making, and this is just our rule of thumb, we've stuck by it for well over a decade, is that there's 2 ways to close this transaction out. You can write a contract for 120 grand sell it to the end buyer, in my example, for 150, and you can just have the end buyer sign an assignment contract or assignment document that says, I'm assigning this contract over to you for $30,000. And so it's just one purchase contract with an assignment piece of paper stating, for this purchase transaction, they're going to take it over and pay you 30 grand. It's a mistake. Anytime you're going to make over 10 grand, what I would do is do a purchase agreement to buy it, and have them submit, that end buyer, have them submit a separate purchase contract to buy it off of you, so they don't know how much you're making, right? So they don't know that you have it under contract for 120, because it's human nature. The end cash buyer, if they know you're making over 20 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand, once you start to get above 10 grand, they'll find reasons to make you come down or knock their offer down to you. And so that you make less
They absolutely
money.
will. We discussed that. We talked about some deals beforehand about somebody here locally that likes to do that on our deals.
Yeah, correct.
And that's why I wanted to just kind of do an interjection here, is because in our agreement, you'll see the verbiage that we use for getting the inspection clauses, for not having to come up with earnest money deposits right out of the gate. So if you'd like to see some of that stuff, make sure you drop a comment below. But again, sorry for interrupting. I felt that was a good time to let people know about that.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. And then I would tell you that the final mistake, okay, as you're getting started in this business, that I see investors make, is that you're not ready to go with private money or hard money lined up on the back end. Sometimes these transactions take longer. Sometimes when you hand it in, you find out that there's some things that need to work on title. So the title company's racing against time, and they're saying, hey, it's not going to get done in time. Now all of a sudden the homeowner starts to get cold feet. Well, you can still be prepared to close. Okay. So the moral of the story is this: sometimes that end buyer on the back end needs more time than what you thought. Something pops up on title that needs to be done, and it's going to get to the finish line, but you don't have funds lined up. So sometimes, or the title company may come back and tell you, as I said before, hey, our policy is that you still have to bring the money in to close for 1 minute, even though you have somebody buying it off of you 1 minute later for more money. So you need to be prepared for that. So what I always tell everybody to do, if you're getting started, is don't make that mistake. Don't fall into that category to where you're a newbie and all of a sudden the deal is going to fall apart. At least be prepared to close with private or hard money. And so all I'd ask you to do is go on Google, type in hard money lender, insert your city name, and hit search. And talk to 5 different hard money lenders so that they can tell you exactly what they will and won't lend on, so that you're prepared. As long as you've had the conversation, know what they will and won't do. It also helps you on the front end when you're talking to homeowners and you're negotiating, because in the back of your mind, well, I know we're 40 grand apart on price, but I know I can still come up 10 grand and still probably get hard money on this deal based upon the numbers. So that gives you confidence while you're talking to property owners that you have funding on the back end, no matter what you do on the flip side of it from a transaction standpoint. So these are 5 common mistakes that people don't think about, do, or have in place, or button up properly to get the deal to the finish line. So Jason, those are the things that I would tell the audience.
Yeah. And those are absolutely 5 things you should be having in your business right away. Make sure that stuff is written down, especially after today's episode, and you can start following it so that you don't have those mistakes. But we got to that time of the show.
Is it that time?
It's the Academy Award part of the show. So let's go ahead and bring in that envelope. Ooh, so it's right here. I felt like I was making the noises when I was feeding the kids when they were younger and having to make the choo-choo sounds when, you're having the spoon go right over there.
So these are subscriber questions, folks. Subscribe to the channel. Okay. So these are subscriber questions. Okay. So subscribe, because we want to get your questions and then put them on our channel as well.
Absolutely. So this question comes in from Cynthia. What's the easiest way to buy my first rental property? Hey, we're going to be able to do that, Cynthia. So let me see here. I'm going to add this to the list. This is a really great question. We're going to make sure that we get this taken care of for. If you're enjoying what you see here, you're enjoying what Jason, Mike, and myself share on the episode, and we also get amazing guests on the show that come on and are interviewed. If you are enjoying that, make sure you click that subscribe button. We'd like to have you very, very much so that you can get notified of whenever we have brand new videos popping up. We try and get out 3 videos every single week that are super impactful for you and your business. So click the button below. Would love to have you. And make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and leave a comment below. What did you enjoy most? So from the 5 that we went over today, was there one particular that stuck out to you? Maybe you had that mistake already. Go ahead and leave that below in the comment section below. Would love to see that feedback. Jay, anything else from you?
No, we're committed to your success. So the only thing that I would add is that we're committed to your success. That's what this channel is for. That's solely what this channel is for. And so as always, subscribe to the channel, start watching the other videos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Develop a list of questions. Ask us, and then we might pick yours and have it on our next episode. And then reach out to schedule a call with us. So we have several ways that you can reach out and schedule a call with us. We would love to talk to you about what you want to do, your city, and reverse engineer how do we get you to the finish line. So those are the only things. So hit us with questions, comments, what you'd like to hear us talk about next, and reach out to us and schedule a call. You don't have to do this on your own. That's what this channel is for.
Thanks so much for your time today, Jay. Great show. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye now.
Bye, folks.